Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? As I'm making this video, the sun is coming out of my window, and it's so beautiful because we've had so much rain. I hope you're doing all right. The sun's making me feel good. My children are down for a nap, so everything is quiet. It's a great time. I'm glad you're here. This is our Distance Learning Academy. You know that. That's why you came here. You're ready to learn. And let's get to it. So this is session number 11, and today we're actually working on the exact same objective from yesterday's lesson. We're just going to think about a different character today from the story The Most Dangerous Game. If you have not listened to it yet, it's on StudySync. Today, if you listened yesterday, you should be at paragraph 68 through 137. If you didn't listen yesterday, make sure you listen to the story so that you know what I'm talking about in just a moment. But what we're going to be doing is working on analyzing how a character acts and talks to determine their character traits. And yesterday I taught you that it's not just what a character says, but also how they say it and what the author tells us about how they say it that helps us to understand their character traits a little bit better. So I taught you how to look for dialogue tags, descriptions of how characters are talking, look for their actions, name the character traits that fit with their behaviors, and most importantly, looking for patterns, because we're able to think better about a person's behavior when we see it happen over and over again or in a pattern. That's actually exactly what we're going to observe today in the story. So we left off on paragraph 67 yesterday, and we were talking a lot about this character right here, Rainsford, who, if you remember, is a hunter, but he fell off of a boat and swam to this island. He thought he was finding some people that were going to help him, but he ran into this guy who actually, first thing he did was point a gun at him, and I remember talking about, let's see, where was my last annotation? I remember talking about how he was a person who was calm and cool and confident, and that is a pattern that I noticed. In the part of the story that you listened to today, we meet this guy named General Zaroff, who is a very different character. And the first thing that I notice about him in the text is this line right here that says, whenever he, and that's Rainsford, looked up from his plate, he found the general studying him, appraising him slowly. So that action, that behavior, first of all, lets me know something is up with this guy, General Zaroff. Why is he studying another person? Why would another person do that? That was a question that I had in my head. So I kept reading, and I was paying attention to when the general talked and the dialogue tags, and I found some in paragraph 74 that gave me some clues about how he was acting. So the general starts to talk about hunting and killing things and just becoming less and less satisfied with hunting because it was getting boring to him. And every time he talked about killing something, I saw the dialogue tag that he was smiling with a curious red lip smile, this one says. Or he's talking in like a slow, like kind of almost menacing tone here. So that was curious to me. I was a little bit freaked out that he would be talking about killing something, but also be smiling at the same time. So the two continue to talk about hunting and that stuff, and then he starts to be a little bit like unclear with Rainsford and telling him like, so I had to invent an animal that was going to give me a challenge, and he's kind of leading up to the fact that he's going to hunt people. And here in paragraph 100, the general is again talking about killing, and hunting, and now he's talking about hunting people. And he's again smiling. The author tells me he's smiling as he is talking, which just seemed weird to me, right? Because talking about killing is usually not something people smile about or joke about. But he's smiling here. I see it again in paragraph 114. This time he's laughing as he's like talking about hunting people now. I see it again in paragraph 131, where he's telling Rainsford about how many people he has hunted, and he's smiling. He's smiling again here. And then again on 136, where he's saying, like, no one has ever escaped me. And he's smiling as he's saying, like, no man has ever escaped him. No one that he has hunted has ever escaped him. And he's got a big smile on his face. And I just kept picturing that. Each time I read over one of these dialogue tags, I kept thinking about his face kind of smiling. And it's not like a happy smile in my mind. It's like a creepy, like evil smile. And so because I had noticed the dialogue tag about him smiling and him laughing about this so many times, I was thinking, this is a pattern. This is a behavior that will give me a clue about who this character is. So I didn't make a tag for each one of these. I made one at the end, and you can do this too in your independent reading book when you notice a pattern. I said, as I read, I see the general saying some really disturbing things, but he always has a smile on his face. I said, this shows that he is getting pleasure from the pain that he inflicts on his victims. And I turned that into a character trait for him. I said, this makes him a lunatic, crazy person, or he is mad. Not mad like angry, but mad like there's something not right in his mind. And the pattern of seeing him smile and talking about murder is what gave me those clues. So now, as I read the rest of the story, I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to keep thinking, oh, this character has something not right in his mind, and it is going to help me to understand why he does the things that he does, and also what happens towards the end of the story. As you're reading in your independent reading book, when you notice a pattern of how a character is acting or talking, that is something that you want to note, so that you think about it more, and also that you remind yourself when you pick your book up again. So again, today we thought about how it's not just what a character says, but also how they are saying it and how they are acting at the time. When you're reading today, look for your dialogue tags. Try and name character traits that fit with their behavior, and most importantly, look for those patterns. Does your character act a similar way on a couple of different pages? That can give you a real clue as to who they are as a person. So now it's time for you to do your independent reading. Please do 25 minutes. Notice and note those important parts of the story, and try to apply today's strategy that you learned from my modeling. Last thing to do is to complete your ticket to leave, so I know what you're reading, how many pages you're reading, and also what you're thinking as you're reading. I love looking at those. I appreciate it. Well, I hope you guys have a really great day, and I will see you tomorrow.